Hi friends, good morning. It's Renee Keese here with Carolina Creative. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here with card making ideas for you. Today in the US it's July 4th, that's Independence Day. You can see I'm wearing my red, white, and blue. And my card theme today, I was trying to think of ways to make cards that could incorporate a red, white, and blue theme. So I'm going to be working with Impressions Bloom, just the bundle, not the paper out of this set. I'll use a couple of stamps, but mostly I'm going to be using the dies that came with it. So I'm die cutting a bunch of flowers and I got a head start on some of that. So let me show you what I've just run through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. This was the last of what I needed to do, and I'll just pull out the upper, here we go, the upper plate, so I can show you what I'm doing. So the first thing I did was I did an oval, and this comes from that Impressions Bloom set. And then I've done one of the large flowers like this in red. And then this is a two-piece die that then gives you the pretty flower with the details on it. I had previously run through a white flower center, so you get the idea. Here's my red, white, and blue flower. So I got that. I had already done the flower, some of the stems and leaves, so I've got all these parts and pieces here. And I've done the small flower too. It kind of looks like an unopened bud, so I've got that to work with. Now I did add to this the more messages. If you'll remember, this is a whole bunch of messages that you stamp and then you die cut them all at the same time. So because I stamped this in Blueberry Bushel, I now have a whole bunch of sentiments in this color. So when I'm making cards, I can just grab one of these if it fits my occasion. But I wanted to use the time to celebrate. So those are my pieces. I also picked Blueberry Bushel for a card base. Oh, there's some more pieces. I told you I was stamping and die cutting here. So I've got some more pieces. I've got my Blueberry Bushel in a retired set of, it was actually like Valentine paper, so it had these swirls, but the back side was this red. It's almost a plaid and kind of an angle. So to me, this is just a neutral background. I'm going to put something over the top of that, but I thought, well, it still fits my red, white, and blue theme, so I'm going to work with that. So these are all the pieces I'm going to work with to assemble this card. I've got my sentiment ready. I think I am going to start on the inside. At first I was thinking not. So let me just set all this aside. I'm simply going to put happy birthday on the inside. So this will be a birthday card again. And then I'm going to duplicate my red, white, and blue flower here. So let me start with the red. I'm going to stamp my sentiment in red just because it'll be a contrast to the blue. And sticking with my theme here. So I've got happy birthday. Again, that's a retired stamp. It is one of my favorites. It's just a nice happy birthday message. And kind of big and bold, so it goes across the whole card. All right, so now I'm going to do the base of the flower, just like my bottom die cut here in red. I'm going to put it kind of in the corner and partly off the page. And I should be done with this. So let me close up the red and let me go to my Blueberry Bushel right there. And I'm going to ink this up and put this to give it the same type of detail. Dims the red a little bit, but it's okay. I think you get the idea. And there's automatically a white center already there. So I'm just going to leave it like that. Wow. This one got really tight, so when it happens, I give it a push from the other end, and that helps it slide. So there's my red, white, and blue insert. I may as well go ahead and put that in the card. Just a fun little surprise when you open it up that you say, oh, there's another flower, right? Okay, dot that on the corners and along the edges, and then I'm simply going to square this up. So again, I have blue edge all the way around. So my insert is simply 4 inches by 5 1/4. It's just a 1/4 inch less all the way around. All right, so I'm ready to start assembling. I think I'll go ahead and just put my paper on. I already know that that's going to go there. Hate to cover up this pretty gold foil, but you know what? That just didn't fit my card. So I'm going to use it this way. And now that I've remembered I have that paper, I will be using that gold foil for something else. All right, so I'm going to put I'm just going to center this. I'm going to put my oval on there. Since my liquid glue is right here handy, I'll just keep using it. Some of these pieces I may use my Stampin' Seal, and so I don't forget, I'm just going to go ahead and grab my dimensionals and have them handy because I will want those. So let me look at how I'm going to lay this out. I have a stem that will contain 2 flowers, and then I have another stem. And I was thinking 2 of these big ones, which means maybe one up here, one over here, and then put my little bud over there. Something like that. Yeah, I think that'll work. Obviously I'm going to have to trim this stem. It's going to be too long, and that's part of what I wanted to check out. And then I've got some leaves. I've got, I'll figure out where my sentiment's going to go, and then I'm just going to see what this looks like. Start positioning the leaves to kind of fill that up and put, the time to celebrate, maybe right across the middle here. Yep, something like that. Okay, so since I've got this laying, I'm going to go ahead and trim this. And I didn't get a ribbon out for this. Do I happen to have a red ribbon handy? No, I do not. A ribbon would be cute on here. I'll have to decide if I want to add that later, but you're getting the idea for the card. So let me assemble these flowers first, and that way I can start playing with this. I'm going to look at, there is a way to match these up. I think that's it. To match these up perfectly. Maybe it's not. And that's close. So I'm going to just lay these out so that I know how I want to glue them back. And they don't have to be perfect. I kind of like it when they're not, when they're a little off center, because no 2 flowers are alike. They're not all perfect. So let's do that. And I'll do this one while I've got it right here. And put some glue on there. And let me put the center on. Usually I like to make my centers yellow, or even orange. But in this case, the white just really pops, and it sticks with my theme for today that I wanted red, white, and blue. Okay, so there's the flowers. I've got an idea how I'm laying this out now, so I think I can go ahead and glue these stems down. These are the tricky part. Because they're so delicate, you literally have to just dot the glue on or it goes oozing out everywhere. So I will make sure I get the ends up here, even though they're going to be covered. So if that oozes out, I'm okay with it. And then I am just really delicate touch here, trying to get just a little bit of glue on there. And I'm going to leave myself some space for my flowers. And then put this last stem, dot, 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 just enough to hold it. But again, knowing I'm going to be putting other stuff on top of it, I think it's going to be fine. And I think I'll just cross those and do that at an angle. Okay, like that. So now what I think I want to do is I'm going to put this one flat, and then I'm going to pop this one off the top with dimensionals. So let me grab, it's going to take 3 or 4 to hold this up. And put them around the edges like that, and pull the backing off. And of course, I'm going to add Wink of Stella to this before I'm done, because all flowers have to have a little bit of sparkle. All right, so that one goes there. This one I'm going to, like I said, just glue it flat. So here goes my liquid glue, like that. And then my cute little rosebud. And I might have done that too soon. I had intended to do it like that. There we go. Wow, did I have 2 stuck together there? Or did that paper just separate? I have never seen that happen. I was die cutting multiples, and that might be what happened, and I didn't even realize there were 2 there. Okay, I think I've got that cleaned up. All right, so I've still got a sentiment that I will put on with dimensionals. That will be the last thing once I've got leaves and everything attached. And some of these leaves I've die cut so they have, you know, the pretty etching. And then this last one, I decided just to leave it plain. I could have stamped on it, but really when you look at the front, there's not going to be a lot of stamping. It's only on the sentiment. So I was just going to leave it be. And I think that's going to leave me room for my time to celebrate to go right across the middle there. Okay, so now let me glue. And I could even pop one of these leaves off too if I wanted to use some dimensionals. Whoa, it's moving on me. Thought I had it tacked like that, like this. And even if I cover up part of these leaves, do I want to try that? Why not? Let's put a couple of the mini, if you haven't tried the mini dimensionals, they're kind of fun. A lot of times I'll cut the big ones in half, but sometimes the mini is just all you need. And you can see how small they are. They're that same hexagon shape. So, get rid of that. And I have just an edge hanging over here. I'm going to slide that. All right, and let's put a leaf up there. And now I'm going to put my time to celebrate across here. Helps to pull the backings off. But I had already done that because I was dealing with so many backings, but I did not. Okay, so this across here, and I am going to add a ribbon or twine. I think I actually have twine that's red or blue. I know I have, again, this is retired baker's twine from the baseball, the fan. And so now I do have some options. I think the blue would actually look pretty good on there. I have a lot of red on this card front already. So let's go with the blue. But yeah, always double check your stash. Oh my goodness. I mean, I try to use current products and for most of my projects, but sometimes, if you've got stash, use it up. So in this case, I'm just getting kind of clever with what I've got on hand to go with my red, white, and blue theme. So I'm going to add that right there, the bottom of this little bouquet. And here's my Wink of Stella. So I'm going to add this to the flower center, to the blue, and I'm getting a little bit on the red too. I'll definitely put it over here. And maybe even because that's popped up, I'll just give it a little shimmer. Okay, because I did that, I feel like I need to do it in here too. Add to that surprise when you open the card. Okay, so that's my card. Red, white, and blue theme. I was using Impressions of Bloom, all the cool dies. And so I've got a red, white, and blue card right here. If you've been following my last couple of videos, the last video I was doing popsicles with the arches. And so I did something else with the red, white, and blue theme. It is another popsicle. If you remember back in the day, I think we used to call these bomb pops when they were red, white, and blue. So I simply took my Stampin' Blend and I colored the top third red and then I colored the bottom third blue. And I made this paper on the background. I, again, used my 2 blender pens and just striped it off. So I did all the reds, I picked a spacing and then put the blues in between. Very, very simple, but a cute card. And I think I put happy birthday. Oh, here's to celebrating you. So yeah, another birthday card and then a time to celebrate. So here's my theme for today, red, white, and blue on July the 4th. Hope you've got a picnic or something planned for today if you're in the US. If you like the projects and the products that you're seeing here, you can find me at Carolina Creative or hashtag Carolina Creative. I'm also on the Stampin' Up! Network. It's Renee Keese at stampinup.net. Thanks for joining me today. Stay tuned for that next video.